Hello, everybody. It's Donnie B. Got the Beats, and we live on the beat. Thank you for tuning in. We are winding down season 5, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm getting ready to march headfirst into season 6. I'm thoroughly humbled and thoroughly grateful, but you know what time it is. It's time for that glorious intro, y'all. So I got to say, I got to start out with this shout out because this lady has done, like, she has been pivotal. I think I've talked about her probably the last, I don't know, if I say 10 episodes, it's ridiculous. But Lisa Dove Washington, shout out to Lisa Dove Washington in Dove Star Magazine. Real big supporter, real big fan of hers. And, I got to say, she introduced me to this today's guest, this beautiful lady here, man. I'm trying to tell you, she is such great energy. We were both on the Power of Shut Up Symposium. And I'm talking about Black excellence, y'all. I'm talking about Black excellence. You know what I mean? Just some of the sharpest, tactful minds that I've ever had the pleasure of being on a panel with. And I had nothing but great energy and vibes from them. But I went and talked to Dr. Tonoah. I was like, please be humble, please come be on my little itty bitty podcast, please. And she gracefully accepted because that's what Black excellence does. And I gotta say, I'm thoroughly excited. And make sure you guys stay tuned. Make sure you break out your pens and pads because she's gonna give y'all some nuggets of wisdom today. But I gotta bring her on. She is a health and servant leader, temperament life coach, Dr. Tonoah Hampton. How you doing, Doc?
I'm good. How you doing today, Donnie?
I'm always good. I'm always good, even when I'm bad. I like to say that. That's my
That's right.
So how's everything with you, man? You out in the DMV, right?
Yep, I'm out of the DMV and all is well. It's good. It's a good time in the DMV. So
Hey. tell the people that's tuning in, what if they're not in the DMV, what's the weather like out there?
the day it was very warm today. So and with that comes the pollen and comes that humidity that comes with the heat here sometimes. So yeah, it's a bit warm out here today. So I want a little bit in the 70s. I need the weather to drop just a little.
Yeah, in Southern California, we at the 70s, so I was like, I ain't never going home again,
Yeah, and I bet you don't have this humidity that we get.
Nah, not at all. I do not miss balmy. That's not on a forecast for me, ladies and gentlemen. But that's neither here nor there. Nonetheless, like I say, we want to get to the meat and potatoes of this thing because I know your time is very, very precious, and I definitely respect people's time, man. So let's dive straight into this interview. Staple first question is a staple of the beat. Who is Dr. Tonoah Hampton? Please let everybody know.
Well, I can give you my title. So I'm a mother, I'm a nurse, I'm a health minister, I'm a life coach. But more importantly, I really want to say I'm a servant, right? Serving people to experience love on a greater way so that we can impact society. So I'm here tilling up the ground, helping people get to those roots that's keeping them from loving and being loved. So that's who I am. But I do have a doctoral degree in strategic leadership, and I'm interested in our work in transforming organizational cultures. So are you tired of being in that toxic workplace with that leader that's bleeding on you because their life ain't right at home and they're trying to help you? I'm here for that leader. I'm here to walk them through those storms and walk them through that path, that journey to wellness. So that's who I am.
We gotta get you the bag because I know I can think a couple places that we need to walk you around through there because it's toxic.
Toxic, sick, making everyone sick
Hey,
from the top down. So
hey, that's a testimony right there, sister. I'm trying to tell you. So thank you for sharing the first question. I want to go to the next question. Growing up in, tell everybody where you grew up. What hurdles and obstacles did you overcome in order to become the success that you are today?
So I grew up in what we affectionately call here on the East Coast, the DMV, the District of Maryland and Virginia. And Baltimore is not a part of the Maryland. So let's be very clear. I grew up in the DMV. I've lived in the district. I've lived in Maryland and Virginia, but majority of my time has been right in the Prince George's County area, where I faced challenges of being, knowing who I was, knowing my identity and not being told to be what society tells you to be here. And so that came with overcoming a lot of challenges related to weight, because I used to be over 300 pounds. So I was the big girl with the pretty face. I had to overcome being raped and molested, being a single mother, a divorcee, the taboo, ain't nobody gonna want you because you got those kids. So quite a few things. And so and then being ill for extended period of time, 12 years, 12 abdominal surgeries.
Ooh.
Right. And so here I am today. So I've faced challenges in many of those areas that I help walk people through. So it's not just about I have an education, but I've had an experience growing up here and living in the DMV. So that's kind of part of my story.
Oh no, I thank you again for sharing. I mean, it's unfortunate to hear about some of the elements in your testimony, but I mean, the fact that you've overcome it and become the vessel that you are today is it's just amazing. Especially like you said, we're from the same walk, same path and walks of life. So I know just how difficult as well to traverse that, the city lines and become, and get out of that area, because there's a lot of things that can keep you, shall we say, bundled up. You know what I mean? But I man, humbled by your story. Seriously.
Thank you.
I got to ask you a question. Since you from the area, if you don't mind me asking, what high school did you go to?
So I started at Potomac, and then my parents moved us to Accokeek. What?
Okay.
Nobody was there. So my junior and senior year, I graduated from Gwynn Park. So
Okay.
I went from the hood school, right, with majority African Americans. And when I got to Gwynn Park back then, there were very few of us there. I was only Black in my neighborhood back then.
Yeah.
Culture shock. Say it. Culture shock for me. Like I didn't even know what to do, but it was just that experience that started me on this path. So eventually, hopefully, I'll be able to tell you a little bit more of that about how I became who I am. But it started because of that transition.
That's understandable. I two things. I'm a proud graduate of the Fairmont Heights High School. So we're just gonna keep that there. And I actually spent a lot of time in Brandywine and in Clinton. Shout out to Bonniewood.
Bonniewood, yes.
Yeah, that's you talk about. That's PG County in PG County. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So definitely spend some time there. Shout out to anybody from Clinton and Bonniewood for sure. But again, thank you for sharing, man. Thank you so much for sharing. I definitely am intrigued to learn more.
Yeah, no problem. A PG County girl, pretty girl from PG County. That's kind of some of the stuff. So I'm here.
Exactly. That's what I say, pretty girl county.
You're up, pretty girl county.
All right. So how did you get into the health and wellness industry?
So good segue from where we just came. We talked about that transition I had to make in high school, where it didn't land me at the top of the educational list. So though I was intelligent and I had the grades, I had a history of getting into trouble after school, working with the basketball team and things of that nature. And my guidance counselor punishment for me was to recommend that I go work at a nursing home after school to become a nursing assistant. So she had me bust from there to Clinton, right the Officer Rats right lane, sent me right on over there. And I became a nursing assistant. So that was my introduction. I was 16 years old, just old enough to get a job back then. And it would be the path. I had a director of nursing at that time take me into this room that was horrific. Like no kid should ever see a patient look that way. And she told me if I survived taking care of this one lady, giving her a bath, she knew that I would make it in health, in the nursing profession specifically at that time. And she was right. It was the thing that gave me a brand new look on life and how fragile it was and how I wasn't taking it seriously. I was just living. So that's kind of how I got started right in that moment. And I would go from being a nursing assistant to going off to college, not doing the right thing, came back home, went to LPN school, become a licensed practical nurse, and for $625 in the district, right? So here we go, back to DC. They
Right.
paid for the program, and I got my license as a nurse. And I spent almost 20 years doing that before I would go back and get my RN license because I didn't think I needed it because I was making the money, because that's all that matters.
Right.
Make the money. And one day someone said to me, you're greater than this. You're greater than this. And I need you to go back to school, not because you feel like you want to, but you need it so that they'll pay you your worth. They're getting you to do the work without paying you your worth. And I would go back to school begrudgingly, which meant I had to take some classes over because I've been out of school so long. But through that, I got my RN license and associates from pgcounty Community College. So shout out to PGCC. And then, right, I've done the game, and I've worked every level in my profession. So when I arrived in 2019 as the executive director for the DC Board of Nursing, no, I started from the bottom. And I worked every level up there: associates, bachelor's, master's, and now a doctoral degree. And I'm not finished yet, right? You probably say, you finished yet, but I want a free and charitable clinic, and I can't do that unless I can practice independently. So that's the next space, but to provide holistic care to go with the other things. So anyway, that's kind of how I got there.
Take notes, ladies and gentlemen. This is how it's done. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about right there. Black excellence, boy. I'm trying to tell you, it's something to be beautiful. It's a sight to behold when you actually just witness it. You know what I mean? So, peace. Who and or what were your inspirations in this journey?
My inspiration in the journey was the desire to see our elders treated with care, respect, and dignity, right? So I said I started at 16, and it was a nursing home. So if you imagine the things that I saw and how they were treated was deplorable. So it became my one quest in life, and I'm still doing it, to ensure that those who have to receive care get the care that they need. It was those ladies who shared their story. It was the 90-year-old Miss Minor who said to me while I was divorced, raising 2 kids, having to work, that one night I was giving my son, who at the time was probably about 10, instructions on how to take care of his baby sister who was like 4. And she said, tapped me on the shoulder, demented, "Hey, baby, get off that telephone, because you're going to decide today either you're going to be a mother or you're going to try to raise those kids by the telephone, and that won't work." That day, again, was another pivotal moment. But the Leona Miners and every elder that I ever took care of, providing care, deposited something into my life that empowered me and encouraged me to keep going. So I am who I am today on the shoulders of the elders I had the responsibility to care for.
You know, I gotta say, the thing that I'm most impressed with is your ability, but through the stories that you told me. Obviously, I mean, we still get to know each other, but it's impressive because it's like it appears that you. A lot of times when people talk about blessings in the faith, right? A lot of people don't understand how to receive the blessings when they're presented to them. A lot of times this is not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for this one. So you miss out on your blessing, or you miss the opportunity. And it's like, to me, it's just the witnessing of every time this blessing comes to you, you see it and recognize it, and then build on it and build on it and build on it. And it's a wonder why you're so successful. You know what I mean? And I think it's just, like I said, again, it's a blessing. It really is, and it's amazing. It's amazing to see. Victoria elevates. She said, "Hello, beautiful family. What's going on, Victoria? Victoria, I'm gonna get back to you soon. I just charged it in my head, not my heart. Okay." But shout out to Victoria, man. Another one in the health and wellness industry is another rising star right there.
Yes.
Okay. Through all of these things, right, and every path and every journey, there's always obstacles. What are or were your biggest obstacles in establishing yourself in the industry?
Me?
Yes.
No, me. I was
okay.
I was my biggest obstacle, right? So as much as I've talked about how these opportunities or these challenges I saw as a blessing, I can tell you I didn't always see them that way, right? And there were times when really the truth of the matter was I feared the success. So not so much the failure. So like some people fear failing. Really, I don't have a fear of failing because you can't win if you or succeed if you never try, right? So I had that down pack. I was good at that. But what happens when what you plan to do really work out and somebody gonna hold you accountable for it?
Mm.
Right? And so that became really one of my biggest challenges to get over myself and to really see my worth the way others saw my worth.
Right.
I didn't. So I was my biggest obstacle. And really from a place of being afraid of the success. Could I maintain it? What if I fail? Because I'm a very critical person by nature. I'm always analyzing what's going on, how it's going on, why it happened, why it didn't happen. But I don't give myself the same grace that I may give somebody else.
Mm.
So because of that highly critical spirit that I walked around with, I was my biggest obstacle. Some days I'm still my biggest challenge. Like, how do I keep going? How do I do this? But once I began to accept that I was Dr. Tonoah Hampton after all these years, you probably said, well, you ain't figured that out way back then. No, I didn't. This last 2 years of the pandemic, when I decided to walk away from my good government job, good government job.
Mm.
I had an entire identity crisis because I had to be willing to sit with myself and say, yes, you achieved this. Now what? Are you willing to fight for it and go for it and dream the impossible dream, to dream a dream that's so big to Noah?
Mm.
It will fail flat on its face if you do not trust God wholeheartedly. But I had to sit in that moment to be able to say, yes, I am Dr. Tonoah Hampton, and not acquiesce as I always did. I was just an LPN, just a nurse. And so, you know how we put that just because we trying to downplay it and call it humility, but
Mm.
it really is just that you don't have the confidence, that part.
Mm.
So I had to get to that place that it was okay to celebrate. You may have saw my live to celebrate the victory of becoming Dr. Tonoah Hampton, because guess what? I had some sleepless nights. I
Mm.
had some crying tears. I had some doubts, but I persevered. And I need to be able to show to others that you too, there's not that I took some magic pill. What I've accomplished, you can do it and exceed me. And
Right.
that's what I want to see people do. Exceed the things that I've done. Be great in the area that you call to. So getting over myself has been the biggest obstacle. But when I embraced who I was able to respond to the world when they called my name, to be able to reach back and answer you. I promise you, because I wouldn't have in the past. It would have been like, who, me? Oh, nah, he don't want me. Like, what I'm gonna talk to him about, right?
Right.
That's what I would have been at in those days. So yeah, me.
But again, like you said, it's just it's because you just opened up a lot of things with me too. Because I mean, I can't having to deal with a lot of stuff specifically, like the day that I realized that hey, I actually am in the music industry. Instead of you always look at it like I want to be in the music industry because you don't check that certain box, that one event hasn't happened, so it's like, well, I'm not really in it. But then you look at it, it's like you look back over time, and it's like, wow, I've been doing this for a long time. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Like I've hit these other benchmarks that overshot, again, missing the blessing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So hey, you speaking. She's
You there
speaking.
though. Yeah, no, you are the part of the music industry. You are changing lives. And I think that the comparison of our check boxes, because we've now viewed it through somebody else's lens or what they set as the bar. But what if your bar is something different and the impact
Right.
doesn't include that part of the checklist? Because we can't negate every step along the way. And even though we see this as the pinnacle, all of these things down here were very, very important. And that's somebody else's ceiling. And it's just your basement. It's just your stepping place. So
You got the little way you put your words together. Definitely. Man, y'all make sure that y'all tune, comment in the chat section, man, and let Dr. Tonoah know that you're here, man. Here you go, Victoria. She said, "This is the truth." Yes,
yeah.
it is. Thank you as well, Victoria. But yeah, no, I definitely understand and agree with everything. I love that whole basement ceiling thing. That's going to sit with me. I'm about to give you residuals on that one.
Just use it and change somebody else's life. That's the best, right? That's the best payback is being able to pay it forward for somebody else so that we all continue to grow.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Wealth, wellness, health, and entertainment. Could you describe the association of the industry and the entertainment industry, and vice versa?
Okay, so let's start with this. This is my line. Health
Okay.
is in everything we do.
Mm,
You can't escape it. Health and wellness is in everything. It's in your finances. It's in your physical being. It's in your nutrition, right? It's in your relationship. It's in your
mm,
spirituality, right? It's even in our policies and regulations that, and even in entertainment, right? Because what we know is laughter does the body good like a medicine, right?
yeah.
Right? But also music is used to heal. So we got music therapy, right? And it ministers to the brokenhearted. So I think about even like the hospice industry where we know they're gonna die. Like they've been given 6 months or less to live, and we bring in the person who's gonna sing to them.
Mm,
Right. So, what we have to understand is that health isn't everything. So, health and wellness, we must respect it.
yeah.
The other side is entertainment is necessary as a modality to health and well being. And we cannot negate it. Better yet, we need to find more ways to incorporate it
Right.
because the more we come together, the better we're able to deal with, okay, mental health month, right? We heard all about men's mental. Okay. We want to help deal with some mental health. How about remember those songs like we did karaoke last night, right? And going back to songs in the 60s and the 70s, right? Oh,
There's no,
they spoke,
yeah.
they
There's nothing
spoke
like
to
old music.
nothing like it. But think about our the health of our society. What's going on? What's
Right.
going on? Right? He was singing it then
Yeah.
to help us now.
Yeah.
We didn't know that we would need it. Go back and listen to it. Maybe we'll get inspired to make a difference in our community. Community health. See, it's in everything. You can't get away from health and wellness. You can try, but it even shows up in the church. Huh? Because even in the mind, Apostle Paul, who wrote most of the New Testament, said, this member in me don't get itself together sometimes. We got to address it. And music and entertainment, rather be comedy, whatever it is in that entertainment space, right? We can't just limit it to one thing, but all those things that it entails, now feed it back and feed it back through the health and wellness lens, and we'll begin to change our society more and more.
Again, I love the way you put your words together, man. I want to take this opportunity. I'm gonna go off schedule really quick. I tell people all the time that being that I'm in LA, right, and I'm a, what they call transplant. I'm a transplant. I came from somewhere else, and I'm here. And a lot of times when I'm talking, people are like, "Dude, like nobody uses that word." You know what I mean? And I tell people all the time, it's like, "Yo, where I'm from, people place a premium on learning how to speak and understanding the power of words, because the power of words is the difference between an educated person and someone who's uneducated. You know what I mean? And it's
Mhm.
just listening when you use terms and words like modality, you know what I mean, so forth and so on. Deplorable. You know,
Mm.
I don't think I've heard anybody use that word since I've been out here in 8 years. You know what I mean? Nothing, shade to LA at
Yeah,
all.
no shade.
But I'm just saying, from perspective, it's great to hear educated Black folk talk. I've said this time and time again on the show. So just wanted to call light to that.
Oh,
Definitely.
great. Thank you. I just try my best. I mess up and get tongue tied, but at the end of the day, I really try to be sure that what I say, I mean, and I mean exactly what I say, so that if you ever call to question, I can give an account. But the other thing is, if you ask me, I can give you, we may have a different definition for a word, and it may
Mm,
require that I clarify how I'm using it. versus
Right.
how you think or what you think it means. So yeah, we that's the space here, right? You know, we it's important, and it's part of what opened the doors for me, right? Because you have
Right.
to be able to top of the morning to you in some areas.
Yeah.
You got baby call Alabama Bama when you need to call Alabama Bama.
There's a lot of mud there. Sometimes they need that reality check, you know?
Yeah, so it just depends on, what that looks like. But yeah, it's thank you. But yeah, I'm in that same space with you of just, growing about who I am and how I speak and what it means to the greater society.
I love it. I love it. Again, Victoria elevates up and down on here. She's the power of words. That's truth. I'm gonna show it one more time. That's truth. She's right. So again, ladies and gentlemen, hit up the chat. Let Dr. Tonoah know that you're here. Feel free to chime in if you got any questions. Feel free to shoot them out. But we want to keep it brief. I don't want people to take it over, but we'll keep it brief. But if anybody watches the show, should already know what time it is now. It's time for the. Want to take a guess? Hot topics. Here we go. Here we go. Hot topics. So, Dr. Tonoah, we have hot topics. Hot topics are a series of questions that are designed for the viewers to get to know who you are through these random questions that I'm about to ask you. We won't keep this light, keep it fun. If there's a question you don't want to answer, feel free to say you don't want to answer it, or it's unbecoming of the sister. And I'll be more than happy to get it skedaddle it out of here. But you ready? You ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay. We're going to start with the first one, which is a staple of the beat, is 3 things you didn't know. What's 3 things that the world does not know about Dr. Tonoah, or 3 things that you need to clarify because they need to put some respect on your name?
Okay, first of all, my name is Tonoah. Let's start there, right?
Okay.
People frequently mispronounce my name even when I spell it out or it says, hey, it's like sending a letter to Noah, like Noah in the Bible. And they really get like befuddled when I get to the word Noah. Like they're like, huh? What? So that has been like something I've dealt with. And actually I really have just given people passes over the years. Like, yeah, no big deal. Call me whatever. At this point, just don't, disrespect me. But yeah, so that's one thing that you don't know. Another thing I think you would not know about me is that I actually have 14 grandchildren and 2 great grand. We're wonderfully blended family over here. And so many people may not know that. They may just think of the 2 that they frequently see me with, but actually I have a big and robust immediate family.
Awesome.
Yeah, I say a third thing. A third thing about me that you wouldn't know. I'm actually an introvert.
Nice.
Yeah. So I really don't like large crowds and events and a lot of in your face stuff. Like this right here is a stretch, this space I'm in. I'd rather be in the background pushing someone else to do it. I'm very uncomfortable at on the spot question and answers. It makes me very nervous. So yeah, so I'm definitely an introvert, not really an extrovert at all.
Okay. Well, thank you for getting through the 3 questions. To answer those 3. I swear I'm batting 1,000 because 2 of them I already feel like horrible about. So, Dr. Tonoah, I'm gonna make sure that I say it correctly. First of all, I apologize for disrespecting you, and the other is just like I said, introvert. I'm the same way, especially now in today's society, man. I just don't like being around a lot of people. It's just things get out of control entirely too quick. I just, you know, so that's that.
But I don't think you ever said my name wrong, because I'm pretty keen on picking up on who the people are who say my name wrong, and I don't think that you have. So, not to you, but I mean, there are people who've known me for years, right? I'm not talking about the immediate people. I'm talking about people who've known me years, and I'm still Tonola, Tonoah. Yeah, I'm a lot of things. So yeah, not to people who immediately meet me, but typically people who I've had to say it for years. So
Fair. Thank you. That's the redemption there. Woo.
yes, no, I don't want. Yeah, not that.
Next question. They ain't got no war for that. They ain't got no war for that. Is basically it's kind of a two-part question. You can answer it one way or you can answer it the other one. What is a topic in pop culture or in just in life in general of a scenario that's like the most hilarious, ludicrous, outlandish thing that you could think of that you like to speak on? That could be anything from our former president Donald Trump saying something belligerent on TV, or Lil Nas X with a baby bump. Or second part of the question is, what is something that maybe you want to call attention to say, you know what, this demands awards, like this should be ceremony, triumph, or brought to ceremony, if that makes sense.
Let's see. I think that something that we need to bring to attention is the call for our our generation of leaders to come forward, right? So we had Martin, Malcolm, and right now, as we look at elections coming forward, what are we going to do in the last recent year? Who has gotten angry enough about what's going on in society to stand up and say, if I live, I live. If I die, I die. But we got to do something about this to make a change in our community. And I just don't know if we have found that person yet. Or maybe it's you. I don't know. But that is willing to say, hey, I'm angry. I'm tired of the way things are going down in our community. Because back then they could call action to happen in the African American community and things begin to change, or at least we tried. And right now, I don't think we found that. So if I would say it's a cry for our modern day activists to really stand up and begin to unite our country.
I love that. I love it, and it's funny. I'm very critical, especially in with our political figures, and I'm not one to mince words. Everybody who watches the beat knows that I don't care. At the end of the day, I will say what I will say. That just is what it is. No disrespect at all. It just is what it is. But I'm very critical of that, and I say that a lot. That I just wish we had transcendent leaders, like you said, like Dr. King and Malcolm, and it's just now it's just like you said, who is that person? And that it is unfortunate. It really is, truly. But one will come. Just when we need them the most, they will step up. I do have faith in that.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you for answering that one. Next question is what they say. Now, I have a lot of people on from a lot of different walks of life. I've had people on from Italy. I've had people on from Germany. I've had people from Accra, Ghana. Shout out to Accra. They've been really supportive of the podcast, all over the place. But for the guests, what are some words where you're from that you'd like to share with everybody, that if they in your city, these are the words that, what I'm saying, that so they can kind of fit in or feel like they know what they talk about, like they're hip.
So I think we've kind of dropped some of them throughout this podcast, but some words you may hear that you may not hear anywhere else is again referring to individuals as Bamas, right? Those individuals. I'm from PG County, so Pretty Girl County. So you may hear people refer to them those the pretty girls. Doesn't necessarily mean we all pretty, but we pretty, and we like nice things, and it doesn't. We ain't jealous of you, and you can have yours, and I can have mine too. Right. But I think about this one phrase. I think I've heard it all my life. You know how they start talking? He's like, yeah. You know. You like, nah, no, stop saying I know. so that's one of the things I think about when I'm listening to conversations, because I spent about 13 years in Baltimore, which is, y'all mean, in a whole bunch of other things there. And
Yeah.
when I got back here and I was hearing, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? No, yeah, I know what you're saying. Just keep saying what you're saying. And it's almost and the how they roll the letters, the end of the letters, right?
Yeah.
It's
Uh.
always at the end,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's so it's again, there are those cases we have those things, but yeah, if you hear somebody call them somebody at Bama, just know that they must be from the DC
Yeah.
DMP area. It's something that rolls out of the tongue very easy. So
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Some of my classic favorites outside of Bama is we don't use the th sound. We use the v. So we say
mhm,
mothers.
mother,
Mothers. That's my mother.
southeast,
Southeast.
southeast.
Yeah. Right. Hey Mo, kill Mo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Stuff
what's up?
like that. That. But welcome. See, you guys got you gonna get your degree in PG County dialect real
Yeah.
soon. All right, two more of the hot topics that we can get back to business as usual. Netflix, what's on your visual playlist, or do you even watch TV? Because I know you're probably ridiculously busy, but it doesn't have to be just Netflix. It could be Hulu, it could be Disney Plus, it could be the news, it could be anything. What's on your visual playlist that just caught your attention?
So yeah, I'm not. TV is probably my least favorite thing to do. However, Bridgerton.
Yeah,
Uh, I've already binge watched it, so Netflix is gonna have to do something about this being able to binge watch it, and then you have to wait however long you have to wait to get another season. But that was something that was there. And lately I've been looking at food challenges, right? When I have
mhm,
had downtime. So where they're having to make different cuisines from these mystery items or from different countries. And
mhm.
only reason why I think I like that is because now just being more interested in other cultures, other foods,
Yeah,
how can I incorporate some different things, because food gets boring to me. So I'm easily bored. So I think that's why I have, in a very little downtime, I've done that. I'm in a house that's inundated with CNN, Fox News, MSB, all of those news channels. My husband watched those incessantly. So I just actually just consciously tune them out until I see something to make sure I stay abreast of
right.
what's happening in society. But all that stimulation is too much for me. So yeah, no.
Interesting that you said that about tuning things out, because it's funny. Like I said, as I said, and if people know me, I'm Donnie B got the beats, which means I do music and I'm in the music business. I really don't like to listen to music though. I really
Mhm,
don't. I really like if I'm driving, I usually, if I'm not listening to music that I've created or I work with somebody on it, I generally like the quiet. Because
mhm,
to me, it's like I always have music in my head. It's always in my head, so it's always loud. So then I can, when I drive, I can zone out. And I've had people do it like, you're crazy, like you got to turn something on. I'm like, I don't need to turn anything on.
What's funny that you say that, because my head is always going with my own thoughts. The only thing that can quiet me is music. And I like all genre of music, right? But
Mm,
it's the thing, and I like it real loud,
yeah.
right? I need it, but it's the one thing that silenced the many thoughts that I have about what to do next. What about this? How about that? And so for me, it does the opposite, because I'm always thinking and planning. And so I do use those rare opportunities in the car um, to play music, or like even in the morning, you got my little, I start with music just kind of to set the atmosphere, to flush out or whatever I
Right.
dreamt that I'm trying to hold on to, or whatever that is, to right set my day with a fresh palette of
I love that.
space. Yeah.
That's
So I do
awesome.
the opposite.
Okay. Okay.
Probably because I can't sing. Because if I could sing, I would be famous. You would have helped me. I'm trying to tell you, I would have been famous.
I love that your fervor and everything. Like you just like, "Ah, I would absolutely kill it. You know what I'm saying?
I would. But in the meantime, you're gonna want me to sit on the couch and just listen.
Indeed, indeed. Well, with that being said, segue to the last uh um hot topic question. My playlist popping. What's on your audio playlist that just gets you going, you know what I'm saying? And just you can zone out and keep it moving.
So recently has been the 90s R&B, right? And so it has been like it took me back to that time where I was lighthearted, loving life. So recently, that's kind of been my space. Typically, of course, it's normally like a gospel, something maverick music, but Dietrich Haddon.
Mm.
But to break from that, as my daughter said, you play that 24/7, has been my 90s R&B, because it took me back to, you know, fresh out of high school, I'm in college, and all of what that meant when I was discovering who I was. So it takes me back to a really happy time, and really where I felt like music for our generation was really pretty good. We still had
Right.
some lyrics and stuff. Again, no offense to anybody today, but my happy place.
I got you. I got you. That makes sense. It is funny because especially when we talk about non secular music. Like I love like if I'm listening to gospel music, I gotta give me some Shirley Caesar, some ARC Mass Choir, or something. Like I need that. We work it out. We need to be in it. Like that's that stank on it. We need that. You know what I mean? That gets me going. And I can be riding down the street out here, and people like, dude, like, what's wrong with you? Like, you know what I mean? Because you just don't hear people. And like you, I like to blast, turn it up and blast it. So if I am playing music, it's something like that, or something weird and off the wall that people be like, yo, like, but I'm like, I need this. This is my therapy right here.
What therapy? Say that. The music therapy. I'm trying to tell you that stuff can deliver take you from some of them dark places.
I'm trying. You know what's funny? The man, I've never really looked at her sideways, but this little Billie Eilish, man, she had this one song right now that's just like, I'm like, man, listen, that joint just spoke to me. I was like, yep, I got it on repeat right about now. That's you know. But you're right. It's music is therapeutic, man, and it definitely as they say, soothes the savage beast. Say that
Yeah.
3 times fast.
Yeah, soothe the savage beast. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for the hot topics. We gonna get back to the run of show. Couple questions. I probably take one out just for efforts of time. But I wanted to ask you this question, considering that your expertise in health and wellness, and just overall. I mean, I like your perspective and your demeanor and how you appear to be like a watcher, right? So you spend more time noticing and taking notes of everything that's going on. So I definitely want to get your thoughts on this question. But what are your thoughts on the pandemic and its effects on society?
Mm. Wow, the pandemic. Life changer for most of us, right? Never in our generation, never in many people who are still alive generation have we ever seen something of this nature devastate and take the lives of so many.
Right.
But for me, I think as I think about it, how it's impacted us here in the US. See, because when I went to Kenya, you think of a developing country and it should have took them out. And as I went to the hospital while I was over there, and I visited some clinics while I was there. One of the things I realized is it didn't impact them like it did us here in the US. So it led me, I have some other questions, right? Why one of the most wealthiest country with access to healthcare, technology, and all the things that we have, has it devastated us to the level that it has, that we have lost over 1 million people in the US alone to this virus? It's pause. But I
Right.
think that it is pivotal that we not lose the impact of the experience. And what do I mean by that? See, we're always ready to get to the next thing. We're always ready for something to be over with without evaluating what have we learned, how has it impacted me, and what do I want to take into the next space.
Right.
And right. And if we do it right, we won't repeat some things that we have repeated, not just related to health, COVID, but related to interactions, right? Because when we first started, I was a health professional leading this charge, physical distance. But physical distance and social distance isn't the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We still need to socialize. We still need to have that. So how can we do some things better moving forward? So how can we put some physical distance when necessary, but continue to have social interactions that's necessary for our mind, body, and our spirit.
Right.
Right?
Right.
How can we then over here look at, wow, businesses don't need these big brick and mortar buildings that cost millions of dollars that they get grants for from the government to help pay for to house people in a space because we think butts in a chair equal productivity. What can we do differently? So I think the pandemic, yes, it has affected us emotionally, physically, spiritually, like all of that. Our churches have seen, splits over vax, do not vax, mask, do not mask,
Right.
faith that I'm gonna be okay. You don't have enough faith that Jesus will heal us. Whatever your thing has been in that space. But if nothing else, I believe that the pandemic has also taught us that we got to come together. We got to have common ground because this virus did not discriminate.
Mm.
It didn't care how much money you had. It didn't care how much education you had. It didn't care what neighborhood you lived in. Right? Because if I think about where we live, Kenya, like they don't have some of the things that we have here in most of their country,
Right.
and they live in their best life, and they couldn't social distance and physical distance in many cases because they live in these congested areas. But guess what? They weren't ravished like us. So we know it isn't just physical distancing. So we can learn from some other countries and learn really from this as a society, the importance of love and care for your neighbor, which means you'll wash your hands when you're supposed to. When you're sick, you'll stay away when you're not well, right? You're going to cover. Like these are basic and these seem like things that we should all know and we should all do, but we don't. So if we can get back there, I believe we'll get back to a better place where we're able to spend time and love on our loved ones and thus improve our overall health and better yet, our well-being, because it's also impacted our pockets.
Right.
I know, right? We're seeing price. So when I say health is in everything, this pandemic has impacted all of those areas of our lives. And if we want to get back there, I think we got to get back to loving your neighbor, which means you would do the right thing. You would tell them the truth. No, I didn't get the vaccine. And I went to the party last night where everybody was there. So I'm going to stay away from you, grandma,
Right.
because I respect you and love you enough. I love me and I want my choice, but I also respect you. So I'm not going to come until I'm sure that I'm clear, as sure as I can be. And that's about love.
And I'm glad you say that. Because I know some people. It was very near and dear to my heart. Love them to bits, but it was like you said, that respect portion of it that just didn't really know how to get out of their own way with the scenario, and that their heart's in the right place, but just didn't get out of their own daggone way. Like, I mean, I'm just not used to dealing and being by myself. What's going on with y'all though? Whoa, you got COVID. Like, you need to chill. No, I'm good. No, you're not good. You know what I mean? Like, what's happening? And I'm good. Like, I understood when as soon as they first started talking about it, I'm masked up. I'm like, man, I work for the Department of Defense before Homeland Security. I already know. Oh, okay, they got this. Oh, that's like the avian flu. We need to get these masks. We need to be washing our hands. We need to get the rubber gloves, the whole nine. I'm in the store the day they did the lockdown. I'm in the store, got through 2 or 3 shopping carts. You know what I mean? And I'm stopped. I'm ready to go. People like, I mean, it's not really that bad. It's the government just making this up. It's hoopla. And here we are 2-3 years later, right?
Right. But a little bit of restraint, right? In any area. So, right, what we tend to forget in life is that you can't operate at the extremes of anything,
Right.
always. And just as health is and wellness, it's a journey. And you're going to vacillate back and forth between there. And so, yes, there are going to be days that you absolutely should wear your mask. And there are going to be days that you don't have to wear your mask. And there's going to be days that you, Donnie, got to do it because you're vulnerable.
Right.
And I, Tonoah, have to respect that and say, I'm going to meet you. I got you. What else can I do for you? Right? While you go through your journey in that space of wellness. So, yes, to those who I have many friends who are not vaccinated.
Right.
I have many of them who've gotten COVID. I have many who have been vaccinated and got COVID.
Right.
Right. So I've seen it, and I've seen my nursing colleagues die. I've seen them become fatigued. I've seen them not be able to go home to their children.
Right.
And at this point, can we get to a place that we are willing to understand that there's no absolutes in how we're going to treat this, but we must adjust as the situation deems necessary? And again, it goes back to you and me respecting the other person, right? I respect your right to choose. So I'm not even arguing with you about getting vaccinated, right? I'm going to recommend it. But you may tell me you got a health condition that precludes you. Great. I still need you to wash your hands, cover your mouth, wear your mask when you out, right? Because you chose not to get the vaccine, perhaps because you care about the rest of us, and wear your mask.
Right.
Like, it's a compromise, right? So you're not getting it. You're not going to get the vaccine, but can you respect us on this side when you know that there's that potential? You're going to be in that space. Are you prepared to do your part? And I think that that's where we have to get back to, because so often I think we're caught up in our now, our what I want, how I want it to happen. And then we get the government involved. Now they got to put mandates and restriction, and nobody likes that.
Right.
But if we did it willingly, because I love my neighbor, we wouldn't need the mandates. We wouldn't need the government to tell you to do this. This is what we would do. Big Mama and them say, wash your hands, cover your mouth. And you naturally did it. Go take Miss Johnny something, leave it on the porch. Don't go in the house because you can't go over there right now.
Right.
That's love.
Yeah.
But you making sure Miss Johnny get what she need.
All great points. All great points. And it's just it's baffling that we're still, because the cases are shooting back up again. You know what I mean? And like the latest statistics are even worse than when it first started right now. So, you know, I just want to shake people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just shake them. But you know, that would be yeah, I'd get canceled for that, wouldn't I?
Yes, you
Yeah.
would. We're just going to strongly encourage them to think about somebody greater than you.
See, again, the way you put your words together, that's what I'm saying. You know, you're good, you're good. Listen, make sure y'all like and subscribe to Doc over here, man. Dr. Tonoah Hampton is in the building, giving y'all these nuggets of wisdom. I got two more questions for you because we pretty much at time. And I definitely want to get these last two questions out. And like I said, I know your time is very important. First, you said a lot, and everything was well received by me. I'm just saying. I'm here to tell you. You know what I mean? I want you to talk, or I want, maybe that's too rough. I would like to ask if you could take in consideration the young people that are watching, the young people that are hanging off of everything you're saying, and they're like, you know what, you changed my life, Dr. Tonoah. What advice do you have for the young aspiring talent? Whether or not they're in the health and wellness space, whether or not they're in the religious space, public speaking space, or just someone in pursuit of black excellence. What advice do you have?
Get clear on who you are.
Mm.
Know who you are, not what you are, right? Because most people, you say, who am I? You say, I'm a mother, I'm a nurse, I'm a minister. Those are titles you hold.
Right.
Those positions you have. Who are you at the very core of your being? What do people seek you out for? What do you add to the lives of the people that are around you? Right? And I think that it's going to ultimately lead you to the area of influence that you belong to. So that's the next question, is what is your purpose, right? But if you're not clear on who you are, what you offer to the world, you will not be able to show up authentically yourself. And we hear everybody using that term a lot, like your authentic self, right? Right? That's what we want to be, our authentic self. But who is she? Who is he?
Right.
You know, what have you been created to do? Which goes back to temperament, right? Because before you ever were, you were created with destiny.
Mm.
And it was woven in the fibers of your being. It was woven in your DNA. So it's no wonder, right? Though I say I'm not an extrovert, I'm very much an introvert, a melancholy related to social interactions, right?
Mm.
But that means I'm a thinker. I'm a creative. See how when you say melancholy and you say introvert, it has a negative connotation. But if I begin to tell you that I'm a creative, I'm a thinker, I'm task oriented, I got things that I know need to get done and I want to be able to get it done without being disturbed,
Right.
then you understand how I show up. But then when I tell you in the area of control, I'm a choleric, and I know that about myself, because what does that say about me? In the area of control, I'm a compulsive. I need to make sure things happen because
Right.
I get immediately bored when we're not getting the task done. Creativity isn't going forth. So then you say, oh, that's why she show up like she's an extrovert. It's because that other area of who God created her. And she has a need, right? Because temperament is about your need. She has a need to control the situation. She has a need to make sure it goes right. She's willing to take the risk and take responsibility.
Mm.
Others, have you ever thought about the people who don't want to take responsibility? You would say that's a negative. But guess what? We need those people to balance people like me out.
Right.
Because I'm all the way at the end. And they're over here. But what we know is that we have to be able to meet somewhere in the middle. And sometimes I'm going to need more of you. And you're going to sometimes need more of me.
Right.
And then you see those needy, lovey people. I'm not one. But there are people who need to be touched and told how wonderful they are and how beautiful they are. And they need real deep relationship. So, Donnie, they're going to call you every week. They're going to say, you didn't check in on me today. But if you understand this because they have a need for deep love, you can determine how much you're going to fulfill it. So for people who are deciding what careers to go in, what talents they want to use, what God is area of influence God has called them to, ask yourself, who are you in those areas? Because it will impact how you show up to do the work. And so don't choose something that requires your attention to detail and you're the person who wants to paint abstracts. Ain't no lines on those abstracts. So the likelihood of your attention to detail may not be there.
Right.
Know who you are. Get to know who you are. Take the time to sit with yourself in silence and let the silence scare you to death. The death of that persona, that mask you've been wearing, because somehow when life bumped up into you, it says, you have to put on your pageant patty smile. And I'm fine. Nothing's wrong. Or nah, that really irritated me. I prefer when people do X and be clear about it. So I would tell them to know who you are. Be sure.
Man, nuggets of wisdom. You hear me, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I'm talking about. This is why I had to have her on my show. And she blessed me. And I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Make sure you take all of those notes and glean from it, man. Please do. We have one last question because we are pretty much at time, but I definitely wanted to. This is the most important question, and I'm sure you know this. How can people learn more about you?
So I am Dr. Tonoah Hampton on Facebook. I am Tonoah Hampton, 1H, not 2, on Instagram. And you can also reach me through my website, tonoahhampton.com. Every Monday, 7 a.m., I do a live on Facebook, but on Thursdays for women, right? Particularly women. Not that I don't care about men, but I create a safe space for women to learn who they are. We're developing women of excellence. And so we're learning what that means. And so I do it in a private Zoom meeting so that they can lay down their cloak and we can discuss the things that are impacting them, that's preventing them from showing up as their authentic self. Many are older women over 50 who have been raising families,
Mm.
champion on jobs, and now they're at a midlife crisis and they're saying, who am I? I don't know who I am anymore. And we get back to who you are. So that's Thursday. It's called Bomb Life Connections. And you can the link is always posted on Facebook. That's Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. And then I have a myriad of conferences coming up. But I'm working on a real special project really related to creating healing spaces through kind of like a mobile retreat system where we get to talk about the things that are impacting people the most, and particularly for those in low income areas at no charge,
Mm.
right? Sometimes you can't get the help you need because it's outpriced for you. And so my desire is that there is no one who cannot receive the health and wellness that they need because of price.
Mm.
So that's where I am. TonoahHampton.com, Dr. Tonoah Hampton on Facebook, Tonoah Hampton 1H Instagram. Reach out to me. I would love to talk to you. If you want to partner with me to make sure we're able to sponsor the women that want to come, right? No cost to them at all. They
Mm.
just need to show up and be healed. So there you go. That's me.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, this is to be working. Okay, she be working, and it's like I said, it's a beautiful thing. Like I said, I am so blessed and humbled to have you on the show. I totally appreciate it. I want to ask, do you have any shout outs? Anybody you want to call out before we get on our way?
Well, absolutely, absolutely. I think you gave her one in the beginning, but Lisa Dove Washington, I thank
Hey.
you. Thank you for making this connection. Thank you for inviting me to the power of shut up. And it has been a journey for me. But I also want to thank my loving husband who's really just supports me in all that I do. Bishop Lamont Hampton, I thank you. I appreciate you, and my children who graciously shares me with people as I serve without complaint. So I thank those individuals for really being there. And I thank you. I thank you for this connection. I thank you for giving me a platform for my voice. May God bless you and continue to increase you in the things that you have to do, because there's more work for you, sir.
I'm ready for it. You know what I mean? Like you said, I believe in the power of shut up, and I also believe in the power of voice as well. We need to communicate better.
Mm.
Our society, in my opinion, is sick. You know, and the only way we can get through it is to communicate. You know, I use the inference of triage all the time. It's like you can't you if you break your leg, you don't go to the hospital and say, "Hey, my neck hurt." You know what I mean? So communication is key, and we get leaders such as yourself, such as Bishop Hampton. Uh, you know, we need people need to hear you guys. People need to hear you speak. People need to hear what you're talking about, because at the end of the day, it's so easy, especially with things like Twitter and all of these things where people just recklessly throw out commentary that really doesn't amount to anything. It doesn't uplift anything. We need the leaders, such as yourself. So I'm
Yeah.
for
Oh, no problem. More for us to do as we stop the leaders from bleeding on the people.
it. Hey, hey, exactly. That part. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we are at time. I want to make sure I get Dr. Tonoah Hampton back to the Hampton household, and to her. You see, she's a very busy lady, so we want to make sure we get her back. But thank you so much for coming on. I truly blessed and humbled. And make sure you like and subscribe. Follow Dr. Tonoah Hampton on all forms of social media. Visit her website, see what she's about. Just totally, we need to support leaders such as Dr. Tonoah Hampton, and also like and subscribe to Beat. Oh man, I'm just missing the whole thing here, man. Like and subscribe to Beat. Follow us. We are closing out, like I said in the beginning, season 5. Get ready to go into season 6 strong. This was my COVID pivot, so COVID changed my life, and I've been doing great ever since with this. So make sure you like and subscribe. Donnie B got the beats. and Dr. Tonoah Hampton. And we get ready to be out, ladies and gentlemen. You guys have a great day. Stay safe, stay masked up, and we're going to go. We're out. Peace. Thank you.